Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, this is our first webinar for the year 2021, and then we're going to keep doing a lot of webinars. And then, thanks to Saran, he has agreed to do a lot of webinars for us. So, just to give you a small introduction about Sarang, Sarang actually doesn't need any introduction. Everyone knows him. He heads the branding at Capgemini, and he's the co-founder for Sourcing Adda. And previously, also he's done a lot of sessions for us, and there is a lot of learning which we can take from Sarang. So, Sarang, over to you.
Thank you. Can you confirm? You can see my 1 second. I'm just trying to share the screen. Okay. Let me know once you see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, Sarang. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Um, and yeah, welcome everyone to today's webinar. It's all about power of storytelling. I hope all of you are well with your family, with your health. I know we've been doing webinar after a really long time, um, and I really wanted to choose a different kind of a topic than the normal sourcing sessions that I think you've seen a lot from Sourcing Adda in past. I know we did a Glassdoor session last year as well. So um, I the other day I was actually seeing the Pursuit of Happiness, and it really struck me that while all these years I've seen that story and that movie multiple times, that but it really struck me that over and above the, yes, it is a story of a father and a father and a son and a family and his struggles to to feed his family, to keep up right to the basic and to the time that he actually rose to the rank of creating one of the largest fund in North America. But it was actually also a story of hiring and recruitment. So again, I'm sure all of you have seen that. It was also about, he started his career to do something which he saw a big dream of selling, those medical scanners, and he put his all his money over there, and he was really pumped up for it. He bought a new house, he started a new life, and all of that happened. But suddenly, and again, the pandemic and what happened with him was very similar in terms of, there was a change in the market, and now people don't need those scanners, or maybe the technology has moved on. And then obviously all his money were invested into that particular scanner. He had to recover, but he wasn't able to do that. And then one day he saw this guy who was driving an amazing car, and he saw a bunch of people on that street, New York Street, or maybe in that share market street, were happy. And he asked himself, why are they happy and why I'm not? What are they doing differently that I'm not doing? And then he saw this share broker firm, and he went in there. He gave the interview just to realize this was a 1 month internship without any guarantee. But he pursued his dream. He pursued a different career option because he was convinced with his ability, with his competency, but more often than not, really his conviction that I wanted to be happy, and I'm good with numbers. I can do sales, and I can do well. And the motive and drive behind this was not to become a greatest sales man of the year, but just to ensure that his family is well fed, his son was well fed. And that entire story of him then finally getting hired, and those last 1 minute where he was actually happy, compared to the entire movie where he was struggling and literally down in the dumps. That is a story of also recruitment and how recruitment can change the lives. So that is what I wanted to bring to you today, and really talk about the power of storytelling. I know some might say this is okay. Sometimes stories also has got those kind of things where, oh, you can say, oh, ye to story bata raha hai. But again, I think stories have this immense power of changing your perspective, the way you think about few things, the way you look at the problem, the way you look at presenting your job offers, the way you look at presenting your company, but more importantly, really changing the lives of people who are there. So that's what I wanted to talk to you today. And I hope you enjoy. I hope you get a thing or two, and I don't waste your time. And again, really happy to interact with you. But before we go there, I would encourage all of you to be active on social media, active on Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you are. Use hashtag story in TA, and share your views on social media. You like this session, what you learned. Do you think storytelling as a tool can be used? Again, it's a such a huge tool, such an important tool, not just for recruitment. It's actually used in many different angles, obviously, right from the artistic side of things, of the cinema and all of it, to also in business. By the way, I think in business, storytelling is such an important tool that today even clients don't just want to hear your numbers, because every company literally sells the same thing. uh, but really, how does that fit into the story that they want to be part of? And that's what I wanted to hopefully bring you today. Again, I'm no expert in storytelling. Obviously there are these storytellers who do such an amazing job in stories, but I just wanted to see what does it mean for HR and recruitment community, and what can we learn from it. So again, I'm happy for you to share your learnings, what you like, what you didn't like on Twitter, LinkedIn, and let everyone know that what you learned. Right. So yeah, stories everywhere. I think if you open LinkedIn, I'm sure you will see so many stories where people are writing those big stories, and they're getting thousand likes, um, and getting great engagement. And that's really power of storytelling. Rather than you just saying, pushing an update, I got a job at Google, but a lot of time people will actually talk about it. How did I get that job? Where I was previously, how did that entire process happen, and where am I today, and what difference that it made? That is what builds an impact, rather than just saying, okay, I got a job at Google, or even any company for that matter. People are interested because as a human being, we want to know the context behind it, and about everything. Even knowing a person, every one of you has a story. You just may not have told it to anyone, either consciously, unconsciously. And it's not about others. Some stories are better than others. No, every story is important. The point is, how do you tell, communicate, and use that in your business and life? Right? Some people are very boring storytellers. They will just go on and on without really understanding what does it communicate. The big question is, what does it want to say? So again, take an example of Tom and Jerry stories. Now, what did it tell you? I mean, everyone would have enjoyed those stories. Everyone would have enjoyed Pixar stories, and I'll talk a little bit about it. It's really about what it made you feel. What do you take out of it? When we used to be in colleges, and sorry, not schools, or even we had heard so many stories from our grandparents and our parents. The idea was, at the end of the day, okay, what's the moral of the story? And that is what important, even in the HR, recruitment, business, everywhere. Right? So why are we talking about, as a recruitment professional, why are we talking about this? I think fundamentally the storytelling is such an influential tool for engaging candidates slash hiring managers slash stakeholders into what you want to do. Now, recruitment, and again, I don't know how many of you would agree, but has been looked at as a sales too, very similar to sales, where you pitch something, where you're pitching company or or a job offer, or whatever be the case, and then you negotiate how much you want to pay, where you want to be, and then obviously make that, complete that sale by signing a job offer, but actually ensuring that the candidate actually joins, right? At that time, I think very few people realize that while we do all of it, while it might sound transactional to people, that all that we do is find some people from Naukri and LinkedIn and offer them job, and then they start working at our companies. Fundamentally, all of you guys who do recruitment, who are in HR, actually end up changing lives of so many people. And I'm sure there are a lot of stories that you would have heard of candidates, of your people who ended up joining your companies or not joining your companies, where they would say that joining this company, or just joining any company or starting this new role, has literally changed their lives. And that is not a small impact that HR and recruitment does. It is, and that's where, to me, it's such a strong attraction and engagement tool, that a lot of time all that we focus on is numbers. And while everyone is crazy behind numbers and the data and analytics, at the core of it, at the human core of it, what move people is not numbers. If I tell you that, okay, please join this company because they have 10 billion dollar revenue, you would say, so what? Right? Okay, there are so many other companies who have more than 10 billion dollar revenue. What does it, what's it all about? Or okay, we have 50,000 people in our company. we have we are one of the greatest companies. We have our sales grows year on year by 10%. Our margins are this, our GOP is this, our ARC is this. Please join our company. Now, a good candidate would also look at, what does it mean to me? It doesn't really tell anything. And leave candidate, when you pitch anything to your managers, to your stakeholders, to your business managers, they are not intrigued by what you're pitching, is what is the story that you're trying to tell. So, because fundamentally, when someone make a decision of joining a changing a job, you you're literally forcing him or her to go out of the comfort zone and join a new story altogether. And that's where people buy stories and the context behind it, that what will happen if I join the company, what is an opportunity that I'm going to get. you know Again, just to give you a very simple example, when I joined Capgemini, my career was one of the lowest points. My previous company was shut down. It was taken over by some other company who had no interest in pursuing that business. My salary was cut 20%. It was 2008 and 2009 where the global crisis hit, and I did had a job, thankfully, but my career was at the bottom. And there was a point of time when I used to manage over 80 people, and there was this time when I could see literally no one from my team there, because they all left, either because they were fired or they didn't receive any salaries. That was the time when I joined Capgemini. And I joined Capgemini not just to gain more salary, because I heard that time that it was one of the best companies where sourcing as a career, and there were best sources in that particular time. And a lot of people are still doing so much great things in the industry. I joined there with the same salary, but not because it was about salary. It is because of the opportunity that I would get. I joined as a consultant, and Capgemini was good enough for me to give opportunity to go from consultant to senior consultant to manager to senior manager, and completely changed my life. That was the same year when I was got married and I got a new job. So it was a life changing event for me, and I do not regret that decision one bit till today. Now, so again, the changing of a job wasn't just uh, about what is your current salary, expected salary, what is your number of years of experience. No, it was so much different for me. And it wasn't about a recruiter, by the way. It is about the people who told me those stories about how great Capgemini is when it comes to sourcing and recruitment, the passion that these people have embedded into it, where I wanted to be part of the team so badly. I know I chased my hiring manager for 4 months, that can I get a shot at that company, because that was the company I wanted to be in. There was my ex colleagues who were there and who told me amazing things that Capgemini did, right? So again, that's one thing I wanted for all of you to take out of today's thing, that what you do just does not impact that person's job at that point of time, but has a power to change the life of the story of that life. You have again heard of the story of a WhatsApp, founder of WhatsApp, who was rejected by Twitter and Facebook, right? And he ended up creating WhatsApp, where what it is, and obviously then the valuation and all of it. Again, the story of Tesla, story of Steve Jobs. He used to hire artists. He used to hire people, crazy people who are others wouldn't have been hiring, because he thought and he was convinced that these are the people who would end up changing the world. That was about passion. That's again, these are all hiring decisions, guys, at the end of day. Yeah, and again, we can argue that okay, these are the big companies and we work in a very limited or different kind of a setup. But no, every decision that hiring manager take and a candidate take, and you facilitate that decision, end up changing the story of a company and a candidate. It's really about, think about it. There is a story of of a candidate, and he would have, again, what is the story? Story is where you were, where you are now, and what you want to do. So there is a start of the story, there is a middle of the story when everything is going great, and suddenly something happens. Again, related back to any story that you would have seen on films and Netflix, right? It's the same thing. So everything is going good, suddenly something happens, and then something changes, and then there is a climax, right? It's the same thing for life and even company. So there is a story of a company. Capgemini started as, in 2000 with 150 engineers in ENY, which was a consulting firm which was bought by Capgemini. Today Capgemini is over 150,000 professional. Again, that's not the story. What is the story? Is how did we move from that to this? The journey of different people, the journey of someone who was one of the founding members of that team is today our CEO. That is again the hiring story. And again, I'm sure you would have so many stories of people who started at at the engineer level, at a junior level, to becoming CEOs. Now that is an inspiring story. That is something a company can offer. Right, again, you would have the journey of the company would also talk about, okay, previously we used to be this offshore consulting company where we used to just deliver offshore technology projects. Today Capgemini is at the heart of global Capgemini in terms of innovation. How did we do this? Again, that is the story, and we want you to be part of the story, because we think at Capgemini we can help you to get the future that you want. Okay, sorry, I mean, I'm not trying to sell Capgemini here, but I'm just trying to give you an example of how the narrative, what you speak, what you talk, it's really the amalgamation of a story of a company and a story of individual, and you need to find a path in between where it meets, where there is a cultural fit, where there is a skill fit, compensation fit, and all of it. But even before that, without with all of it, which are just the hygiene factors, what is the story that both of these, if they come together, can happen? So again, when you're hiring someone, you would tell, okay, will become a Java developer with 5 years of experience. I need this, I need that. But what we sometimes don't talk about it, what is your role? At Capgemini, we want to serve leaders of leaders, people, companies who are leaders in their industry to help them find their future. And as a Java developer, you will work on, or whatever developer, you will work on one of the clients who recently started, where the designs, development, apps, technologies that you will transform will impact 177 million customers that that client has today globally. And think about, if you are able to build that kind of an impact, there are enough opportunities for you to become from Java developer to an architect to a digital consultant to do something else, because we provide that kind of a career path for you. So again, there is a past, you were Java developer, there is today the opportunities that you've got, and then there is a future. Now, when you talk about that, that becomes a story. And your stories don't need to be inspirational, by the way, or like Will Smith's and all of that. No, your stories can be human, can be simple. You need to find the right trigger points. What is your story? I've in past I've hired people, or there was someone who did not wanted to travel too much because he wanted to feed his horse every day, and that's why he wanted to be stationed. And this was, I think, in Europe somewhere, that he wanted to feed his, because there was an affection, there was a relation, and he, for him, that horse was very important. And that's where we tell the same story. We are at $20 billion company, we have X number of people, we are leaders in the market, we got this award. That's all great. What does it tell to your candidates? How would it change their story? How would it help them? Because again, everyone has got inspirations, and his inspirations are over and above just compensation. Problem is, we end up talking about compensation because there is nothing that at that level that we are selling him or her. So everything, it's like you're selling a most, cheapest goods in the market, and you know what happens when you just sell cheapest good? You just end up getting Chinese goods, right? So think about it. What story are you trying to tell? When this can happen at various level, which again we will talk about. I've learned this from Simon Sinek, which I know a lot of you would know. If not, there's this guy, a consultant called Simon Sinek, and you would have possibly found his clips on social media. One thing that stuck to me for him was his whole point about why. A lot of time, the single biggest mistake that we end up doing is we talk about how and what. So okay, the recruitment case, what is a product? What are we selling? We're selling SAP consultant who is at level, whatever be the level, who's currently needs to be stationed in Mumbai with 5 to 8 years of experience, and he need to have this. And we have got an opportunity for someone who can do that job. That is a product. How do you? And again, it has got salary grids. We can offer you this, we can offer you that. uh, that is a product. That's an opportunity. How? Okay, you need to do this, there are interviews, there are this, there are that, and this is for this account, this SBU, this part of company. Yeah, now that's process. Would you like to join our company? Are you open for job opportunities? Yeah, his answer is yes. What you don't most of time end up telling, and this is where I really love the way exec search consultants do this, because they sell a story. And again, I know it might be more important at that level, but we underestimate that approach, even for any, even if for a high, even if for your campus hiring, for that matter. In campus hiring, again, we talk about this. Okay, this is our organization, we have X departments, we have these products and services, and this is a process of hiring. We're going to go from day 1, day 2, day 3. This is our interview process. We don't talk about why. And why is about them and not just about us. So why you should join, where are you, where can we possibly go together. as a company and you working with us. It's all about why, guys. It's all about why. Again, think of anything today. Why people are going after make in India products? Because they've understood why. You would nowadays even go to the electronics or anywhere else, you first check if, and again, I know it's not a story with everyone, but again, with a lot of you, right? You check because it's, no, I don't want to use Chinese products. Or, that can be about anything CSR. I want to work in a company who cares about society, who cares about other people. Now that is why, that is a purpose. That why is a motivation, and it is at the heart of everything that we do. Every process, every decision. Hiring is one of the biggest decision. Again, coming back to it, where people, why do you think people say कि मैं मेरे wife से जाके बात करूंगा, मेरे parents से जाके बात करूंगा, मेरे friends से जाके, then I'll come back to you? Why do you think they do that? Is because it's not as easy as, oh, just give, let's just buy this 10,000 ka phone. No, it's a life changing decision, and that's where they don't find enough motivation sometimes. Why I should join this just because they are giving me 30% hike? Is that their motivation? Is that the only motivation? No, will be a lot of other motivation. It's just that I don't think we understand that enough, because we're not asking the right question and telling them the right narrative of what the job would offer. Why is again about why, what motivates that person, him or her, and why, how this job and the story of this role, where it was. Again, ask your hiring managers about all of this. Where do you want to look at this role? Where you want to go, this particular account, where it was previously, where, in what shape it is now, and what is the future of this account slash project slash whatever, and what is the opportunity that this person has got. Then ask about why. Same goes for candidate. Ask him or her, what are your motivations? What do you want to? And it's not a question of where you want to see yourself in 5 years. It is about what will make you join a company over and above all the hygiene factors and Googles and all of this. There's no differentiation, right? It's all about, it becomes a very transactional recruitment, right? So again, think of why. And if you haven't read or heard Simon Sinek, please go and do it. I think it will open up your eyes in terms of what what possibilities that you have. Again, a simple question, guys. Can you go into your chat, right? Can you to the chat? Yes, it is a golden circle. Correct. Um, if you have you seen both of these movies, Finding Nemo and Coolie Number One? I mean, okay, Coolie Number One can be replaced with Houseful and a lot of other movies. Now, tell me which of these movies, the experience of watching the movies that you most remember. Is it Finding Nemo or is it Coolie Number One? Can you go into chat and just tell me which experience you remember the most? Or any Pixar movie for that matter. Yeah, Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo. Exactly right. Why? Because it was a story that moved you. It was not okay. In Coolie Number One, there might be a lot of moments that you did LOL, and might be rolling on the floor by laughing, or okay, I died laughing. That's great. But after the movie, you still remember Finding Nemo for the relationship and how it made you feel. Coolie Number One, even Govinda's version for that matter, you may not remember lifetime, but I'm sure Finding Nemo is something that you will remember. And it's not because it was a it was an animated or a cartoon movie. It was about how it made you feel. You suddenly went back and thought about the relationship that you had with your dad, your parent. Did Coolie number made you feel like that? No, right? But Finding Nemo did. And that's the power of storytelling. Even if I don't end up joining that company, what is the experience that I got out of that whole process? That story that XYZ person, that recruiter told me about why I should join will always echo in my mind, even if, okay, they are giving me some less salary. And maybe, okay, that was important for me. But that story will always linger onto his mind. He will go and tell a lot of other people. But you know what? That 5 minutes thing that he told me was not about anything about a role, but just about how it this potentially can be a life-changing moment for me. And obviously it's not just upon you. You need to work with a lot of different people to find that. But again, just wanted to give you a glimpse of what is the power of storytelling here. And the Finding Nemo, or take any Pixar movie for that matter, will make you feel. And think about the person on the other side. Do they remember you in the same way? That, okay, what he was trying to sell me. He was not trying to sell you just the offer, but an experience and my place in that crowded company. People boast about how big my company is. What they don't realize is that the larger the company, the smaller the fish you are. And that's why that whole narrative about my company is big and that's why you should join is such a false narrative for me. What you should talk about, we've got a big company, but there are enough opportunities for you to become what you want to. There are, because we offer so many different things. You can move from one thing to another. You can go from this location to that. We've got different kind of clients. You have been working on this kind of project in Capgemini. We have 10 different kind of projects that you can work on in your career. We have recently launched a digital learning platform that will give you AI recommendations and help you to build your career path. Uh, that is what people would like to hear. Especially, I'm not saying it's not important for vanilla, but also especially for the niche and strategic requirements. Because in that case, it's not just about body shopping or getting people on the bumps. Is really the people that you hire end up changing your SBU, future of your SBU, BUs, your company, new product, new services for lifetime, right? So again, think of these experiences than anything else. Again, just to take you back to what really storytelling is. In a very simple language, storytelling is a process of combining facts and, more importantly, narrative in order to communicate a message and emotion to your audience. In your case, your audience is your candidates, your hiring manager as well. A lot of times we have, we feel really strong about a candidate, right? Oh, he's great, he's amazing. Or sometimes we have, oh, this guy is really needy, need the job, and I think he should get a job, and we just tell hiring manager, oh, we should give him a job because he is in need of a job. No, that's not the narrative that your hiring manager is going to buy. You need to tell him the facts, but with some kind of a context and narrative to communicate also not just facts but also the emotions bit. We are in a people business, guys. Again, I'm sure whether you work in IT services or manufacturing, doesn't matter. All of us work in the people business. In people business, lot of times, yes, data is important, but that's a starting point. As you know, the decisions are also made by the way we feel, not just the data. If that would have been happening, we could have got, the AIs and robots would have ruled the world. Because it's a simple thing, right? You just get the data, make a decision, move on. So think about what emotions and what message that I think we should give him the opportunity, because I saw him working hard and he's taken a lot of challenging facts. It's just the problem with his last 1 year, with the gap or some issues that he have found. But again, I think he's ready to take on the new challenges from all the learnings that he has had. And again, all the conversations and the competency test shows that he has got what the skills and years of experience. But it's just that little bump see like a black dot on his profile, which actually has made him stronger. And he talked to me about the projects that he did in this year. That's the intent, that's the narrative that your hiring manager will buy. And same goes for candidates. You're about to joining a small project, which might become a game changer for this company, because it's the first time we are venturing into the retail AI sector. And this project can actually help us to become a benchmark. I mean, there are some really awesome people who will be working with you, where you get an opportunity, where possibly this will give you in 2 years time to actually work on something really big, because the experience that you're going to get here will help you to find and help Capgemini or a company to win larger projects. And that's the role that you're going to play. Now suddenly that candidate's view of this job changes from, okay, I'll just be another small fish in the company, to something I will be on the driver's seat on something amazing that I can do here. Right. So also think about your storytelling in an introduction. You think it's structured. What do you want to tell? What, just introduce him to the job, to the role. Talk about the problem. Why you need this person? Because we need amazing people to fix clients issues. My client has got a problem where he's not able to transform, in he wants to transform his digital process or his process digitally in the next 1 year, because if he don't, he would lose his market share. Now that's the problem. What is the opportunity that you can come here and do this and climax? By doing this, you will get this. And this is the, whether it's a skill, learning, experience, career, money, fame, whatever be the case. And then the resolution and conclusion. Okay, so that's what it is. In conclusion, I want to, we want to have an opportunity to work with you. Would you be happy to explore the role with us? Just spend those first 2-3 minutes not talking about the job, not talking about whether he's got skills, not talking about whether what is his current CTC. I sometimes, uh, and I hear these conversations, how fast we end up getting to that $1 million question of CTC from the time we start the conversation. It's sometimes really astonishing, and it tells us that maybe we don't have much to say apart from, okay, it's a transactional CTC question. One, if you do all of this, that CTC question will not be a hero question. It will be a end conclusion question rather than a problem question. So again, think about what facts that you got and how do you want to narrate those facts. It's not just about numbers, but it's about the impact, the opportunity, and the story that you wanted to tell. Again, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. Again, with very simple things. What you got, how it can, what's the problem that you want to solve, what is the issue, what is the opportunity that this person would get to do this now, where he was before, where he is now, and where he might go. Again, just quickly, what storytelling is and what it isn't. Again, storytelling's got really bad mouthing in the market, where people are, ye to story batane lag gaya. But again, it's such a impactful tool if you use it rightly. Again, it's a useful information in a narrative. It's a narrative. It's not just telling bullet points. Okay, Capgemini is the best place to work. Capgemini is blah blah blah. We are this, we are that. No, you know, to knit that fact. Again, think of it. When was the last time you narrated a story to your kid or your friends? You would do that, right? चलो मेरे को हाँ मेरे साथ क्या हुआ, हाँ पहले ये हुआ, बाद में ये हुआ, अरे बीच में ये आया, बाद में ये हुआ. And everyone loves your stories. That's the same thing for job as well. But it's just that you don't have to spend 30 minutes. You have to do it like a quick pitch. But again, you've got really good facts about it. It's what your brand stands for. It's such a great tool for employer branding. But it's also, I mean, it's not just the branding, but it's also about the job and the recruitment itself. It's about your customers, which is about candidates. Make the story about them, not just about you and your company. How does it relate to them? It's emotional, it needs to be engaging. There's a beginning, there's a crisis, and there is a happy ending. Simple as that in a film language. Give him or her a chance to become a hero of that film. And it's like, again, I'm not talking about you being a script writer. Just understand from your hiring manager, यार ये बंदे को क्या करना है exactly. Don't talk to tell me he just be a Java developer. कौन सा project, क्या, if he does well, what is an opportunity for company and client and himself as well. Tie the story from your L&D department, your marketing department, all of that. It doesn't take much more time, guys. Maybe try it for one job. Ask the right question to your hiring managers and your leaders to find that story, and start with that next time rather than just starting it. We are a $14 billion company. What it isn't, it's not a word article or it's not a blog. The story, it needs to be narrated in a kind of a process or a step by step manner. It is not your recruitment goal or not your company goal. Story of this company is we want to be number one in our segment. No, that's not the story. That's the end goal. The journey, the opportunities, the problem solving, that is the story. It is it is not about just your brand. It is about brand, but it's not just about it. It doesn't need to be boring. As a recruiter, you will have to wear the marketeer's hat as well, the creative hat as well sometimes. And this is your opportunity. It is not something cool that has happened. That's not the story. That was the starting of the story. So you know what? We acquired this amazing company or amazing brand, department of some other company 2 years back. That's great. Okay. So what? And it's not a hiring pitch. Hiring pitch is a part of it, but it's not the whole. I think there are these are integrated, but they are not. It's not just the hiring pitch, because the hiring pitch will only be about your company. That wouldn't be about your candidate. Now, when we asked, this is a LinkedIn data, that what are the areas that AI will impact recruitment? And on the right hand side, on the top, there are these 4 5 skills which may not be able to automate, but they have got a very high value added with human touch. A robot, as I said, robot can't tell you the story unless we feed him the recorded version, but he can't put a context. They can just give you the analysis, but they can't put a context. That is such a human power. Again, recruitment, marketing, candidate sourcing, all of that. Again, I don't want to get into what AI will overall automate the recruitment and sourcing and will be out of the job. No, I don't believe that at all. But all I'm saying is there are areas which might be highly impacted by AI and automation, and there are others aren't. And that's why recruiters still need, and that's where these 4 5 skills like community building, candidate experience, understanding candidates need, negotiations, and storytelling or selling the role comes into picture. Storytelling is right at the top, which adds such a great human touch, but also it can't be automated. And that's how you can differentiate yourself from the normal recruitment. Now, and I mean, okay, now I know why I put this. You should not start your story by saying, okay, let me tell you the story. I think a lot of people, when they start, okay, let me tell you the story, you are already telling them what you are telling them is supposed to be a story. No, just get into it directly. I mean, there's no need to say, okay, you know where how do I start the story. So anyways, but where do you start? What can you do? So simple. These are the few things that I think you can do at a very very minimal level. Again, not all of them, but just start somewhere, guys. Again, experiment it, try it. I know it might seem, this all looks good on paper, but मैं नहीं कर सकता because this gonna take a lot of time and research and validating the story. I don't know if candidates are interested in the story. you know, it's like wo sab chhod, but that Maruti's ad, wo sab chhod, but bol mileage kitna deti hai. But again, if you think that was the story that Maruti used to sell some years back, today they don't talk about mileage kitna deti hai. They talk about so many other things, and that's how the market has grown. So again, start with simple thing. What is the vision and mission of your company, brand, and role? Where is the why? Just ask your hiring manager that why this role, and not just about okay, we got a deal and वो deal में एक software engineer चाहिए at a grade this and that. No. That's not the role. What he will do in this project? What is his contribution opportunity? Build examples and make it authentic. One of the things in storytelling is you can have role models in your companies who would have gone from that. Oh, our CEO, again, I proudly say that our CEO used to be a engineer. Today he's our India CEO. Same goes for our global CEO Ayman. Is that he played so many different roles. Today he is a CEO. And again, you don't need to be CEO. You can talk about so many great women leaders. Again, I know diversity. Again, diversity is such an amazing area where you can use this storytelling, where you can portray about how your company has fostered diversity, gender diversity, where the women professionals has started to work here. They did this, and today they're here. This is such an amazing tool to engage those conversations rather than just saying, okay, I just need a diversity candidate. But again, today, diversity candidates or female candidates are seeing such a demand that they will think about why I should join this company and that. And that just can't be a binary conversation of how much I'm offering you. So build the authentic examples. Stories cannot be made up, by the way. People find out if those are made up stories, and there's so many made up stories on LinkedIn today where people just copy paste those stories to get attention. And obviously you can find out those, and there are a lot of many hiring stories that are made up, by the way. They just people make it up and just to get more attention. No, I think stories need to be authentic. They need to also be part of who's your target audience and customize your story. A story that you are telling to a fresher or a graduate cannot be the same for someone who's in a mid manager level. Create a small story about every role impact in a JD. Just spend 4 or 5 lines to talk about that role, which would catch an attention of someone rather than this role needs 5 years of experience in this, 3 years of experience in this. You should have worked in this kind of a project. That's not a job description. Give them an opportunity to ये सब ठीक है, but मेरे साथ क्या होगा? What will happen to me? What is the impact and opportunity that I will have? Right. So that's the start. In the middle, leverage your value proposition. Uh, Again, just a small survey, guys. Can you go into the chat and tell me if you know your company's employer value proposition, EVP? Say yes or no. Do you know your company's employee value proposition? Okay, most of the answers is no, and that is a start. I mean, what is again, just Google about what is the employer value proposition. There's a simple answer to why someone should join and stay in your company. I'm sure there will be somewhere, maybe in some HR documents somewhere, or maybe on your career page, or your marketing team would know, or your HR leaders would know. Grab that piece of document and think and use that for the pitch. That's such a useful narrative to tell someone that wow, how your company is differentiated from others. Involve your hiring managers to let the story continue. So it might happen you tell him a great story. अरे ये तो company फाड़ू है, मैं तो जाऊंगा. Hiring managers, just flattens it out. So if hiring manager should continue that story. Or yes, we are doing, yeah. So, Sarang told you the right things. Yeah, this is what we will do. This is where we are. This is where we want to be. And that's why we are looking that kind of a person rather than, just shattering and disrupting everything. Your hiring manager is actually the one who's more important to convert a candidate than you, but you are a starting point. So ask your hiring manager next time you talk to a candidate. Don't just talk about how great company is, but what is the story, what is about that project, opportunity, blah blah blah. Leverage interactive mediums, use videos. I think videos and infographics are such a good way to tell the story. Ask your hiring managers, just in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, can you describe why someone should join this role? And not because you think, I mean, people are okay, this is the COVID situation and everyone is dying to find a job. No, I think again, that's, even if that happens, that it will go away in some time. That's not what it is. Is really about how and why someone should join. Again, use the interactive, more creative mediums. Videos do such a great impact. I used a video job description for my role, and I hired two really good people. It's a very simple. Again, you can post it on LinkedIn for free. You can post it on Twitter, Facebook for free as well. Focus on people and role, not just about company and the all of that. What is his or her role in that project? And end it with measure pre and post impact. So from tomorrow, if you start doing this again, I don't recommend you do this for everything that you do. Just pick up one role where you're struggling. Find out the story about that role. And next time when you speak with your candidate, ask him the questions where you can match his story to this. Oh, you want to, tomorrow you want to work actually on agile projects with blah blah projects. We actually have the same, same kind of roles or same kind of opportunity here. So if we start working now, in next 2 months, the client will actually give us more opportunities or more projects where you can make an impact now. Okay, so just try it on one role and see the difference of people responding to you and getting engaged into the story, the number of people who actually go through the interviews and eventually get hired. I don't guarantee you will fundamentally change the recruitment or anything like that, but you will feel the difference in the way people interact with you, the questions that they ask. You will differentiate yourself as a recruiter, because for them, recruiter is not a face, it's just someone who asks the question, get a profile, and do things. Again, I'm not generalizing. There are some amazing recruiters, as I said, but again, in a volume driven requirement, volume driven, environment, this sometimes might happen because we are so focused on delivering numbers, but we forget the context. How many candidates who joined were aligned to your story? So ask after they join, why did you join? And if their answer is that, what you told me about the opportunity and all of that, that your story actually made an impact. Candidate experience surveys, if you have it, turn them into brand ambassadors. Once they become onboarded, they can become brand ambassadors. And lastly is all about, it's all about experience. I know I'm running out of time. I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of um, of uh, of a um, of a format that LinkedIn uses. So I've embedded into my slide. This is a master storyteller for framework that LinkedIn uses in terms of the way they speak about LinkedIn to candidates. And it has, what are the candidate motivators? They try and ask first some leading questions, share their vision, talk about economic graph, which is so core to LinkedIn in terms of this is how they will change the world in their story. Talk about the opportunity. What is the growth? What is the product? What are the customers? Share their cultures, values. Again, culture is such a undermining fact in recruitment. People join a lot of time because of culture. Go to Glassdoor and you'll see that. So again, I don't recommend you creating this kind of a framework. LinkedIn is really thorough in the way they work about this, but just use some of this and see how it can actually change the narrative and give you opportunity to have different kind of conversation, right? One more thing, I actually asked the question to few of you to narrate the stories, which stories that moved you. And I think there are 6 people who have given me the answer. And again, the idea was how these stories, even whatever point of time in your life you would have heard, you you always carry with them. So again, talking about Akbar Birbal, stories again, the cleverness and the smartness that they show, that was the USP in those stories, right? Or the Lion and Mouse, which is all about the kindness. That this was again a really moving story of someone. Uh, yeah, Office Boy is yeah is another part, but the Karna story was again amazing. Despite all of the things that happened, he did not give up giving, which is such an important value. The crackpot was amazing. I don't know who shared this story, but uh, you know the the wastage that this guy was seeing because he was carrying the water pot and it was getting leaked. When he realizes that, what a beautiful path of flowers that he's created because the seeds were sown onto that path where the water was getting leaked. What he has created was amazing, right? And sometimes we don't realize that these stories take time and persistency to create, but again, these stories stay with you. Use this technique with your candidates. Tell them the stories of some amazing people that have been successful with your company and inspire them. So with that, I'll take a stop. uh, I just can you so if you have any questions, please go and put into the chat box. I see one question. How do you dodge, what techniques you use to dodge unwanted question when it comes to regularly while in the midst of explaining the climax before conclusion? So I mean, okay, I wouldn't say they're unwanted questions. The fact that they are asking these questions means that these things are important for them. So try and use them in your narrative or in your story itself. And your story needs to be authentic. That doesn't mean your story will be beautiful and everything is goody goody and we are the dream company to work. No, talk about the flaws, talk about the things that possibly you think you aren't great and maybe we can improve, but that just makes you human. Don't dodge the question, use them. Just tell them, okay, I'll come to that, and it's an interesting question that you're asking. I'll come to that. Can I just pin this for a 30-second? Complete your narrative and then talk about it. By that time he would have listened to your narrative and talked about, okay, what does it really mean to him or her. What can be one question asked to candidates which makes your final decision? So I don't think there's one question. It can be series of questions. I mean, first try and understand from him what is important to him and her. A lot of time we assume that, okay, Arif, we are giving you 30% hike. We are one of the world's greatest brand. Why are you still not joining? Because we haven't asked him the question. Okay, this is great, but can you tell me what is your motivation? We ask him the question, why are you leaving your earlier company? But that doesn't give you the entire story. He might be leaving his previous company not because he was unhappy there or she was unhappy there. There might be a lot of other things. It's a human decision, it's an emotional decision a lot of time to leave a company, and you have to ask and unearth that. What's really important? Saran, can you tell me what will make you what are the important factors, success factors, where you will choose your right role? What motivates you? What is why? Again, going back to my point there, what is why? What are your motivators, intrinsic motivators, which will help you to make the right decision? And I'm here as a recruiter to help you understand more about your motivation and how my profile, the role that I'm offering you, is matching to it. And sometimes it might happen that it's not 100% matching, and you would know the leading parameters. Okay, you would feel like he or she is not going to join because I know his motivators are different. Okay, I'm really looking out for a role where I can go back to my home in 30 minutes because I have a kid and he comes back at this time. Two, no, I have an ambition to actually become one of the best coders and analysts in India, that means he's competitive. Now again, go back to, okay, what can you provide or your company provide? What is the environment? What is the culture? But sometimes we assume things because, those are the things that we've always asked, and we have assumed those are the always important things. Again, because of COVID, people are, the health, wellness, mental pressures are becoming so much important decisive factors for them. The flexibility, all of it has changed, right? But if you're asking the same old questions, what is your current CTC, what is your expected CTC, when you can join, what is your notice period, then you are just not able to understand him or his, why they are looking out for a job change, right? um how do you manage volume, was it quality more relevant to candidate or tight so again, when you speak with candidates, how much time it will take you to just narrate the story and ask him some questions. It might be 2 3 minutes. Again, that's why I say I don't think you need to spend 20 30 minutes. By the way, I know recruiters who are really amazing. One of my friend who used to tell us that because he used to work in a company which was lesser known, he used to spend 45 minutes talking about a company and explaining why do they exist. Again, I don't think, maybe you don't need to do that, but just try and get some leading indicators. You can have two sets of conversation. One is about really understanding of why, and then talk about what and how. It is not about, okay, if you think that you can solve this problem by mass emailers and people just saying yes and no, if that is your view, then obviously you can't, because then that job can be done by chatbots, and there are so many chatbots, and all of that is available where you can just say yes and no and get selected. But that's why you are here. Your 2 3 minutes, or just some of the questions that you are seeding into his mind, and the reactions that you get are not going to deter to your targets. What it might end up doing is you getting the right candidates rather than 10 average candidates. Just get 5 amazing candidates who buying your story. How can I improve my storytelling experience? Just start with it. Yeah, I mean, Raja, just start with it. And you will get better at it. I am no great storyteller. I'm passionate about this because I think it can change, but it is all about practice. Just start with telling stories to your kids or to your siblings. But again, simple things: start, middle, and end. How can we use storytelling while working in startup? In fact, startups are the best place where you can do the storytelling, because startups are built on ideas and dreams, whereas established companies already have set structure. Startups are, so I can tell you, can do storytelling so many different ways, right? So think about, why do you exist, why the idea of your startup exists. The story of your startup is itself you need to sell to your candidates, because they don't have a view of your brand, they don't know your company. And see if that candidate is buying into that dream, whether he is aligned to the dream of your startup, the objective and the goal of your startup. Does that align to him and her, over and above all the other things that you want to provide him? Storytelling, a lot of times, how do we meet the target? Again, as I said, just think about it not as a separate activity, as part of how the way you interact and engage with your candidates. The additional 3 4 minutes will not do any harm, but will actually give you better engagement, rather than just spray and pray approach of job advertising and candidates. Just send out a mass email and see who responds. You identify amazing candidates and engage them. Start it small. It is not about a 30-minute storytelling session. Yes, you can do that for some of the niche or exec level or senior level people, but for to begin with, even, again, simple thing in your campus decks, is there a story, or is it just about, we have this, we used to be this is what we are, this is our leadership team, we have these campuses, we give you free food? That's not the story, that's a product. Tell them what is your vision, mission, and how these employees. Again, use it for employer branding, guys. Use it for career pages. Use it for your social media. That's It's not just about what you tell on the interviews and pre-screening. It's also about on the overall employer branding. Does your profile tell him a story? A candidate would visit your profile. Do you narrate that story on, maybe a video of your company, maybe write up about your company, all of that. There are so many different avenues that storytelling can do. Okay, so I hope all of you, I mean, maybe there's at least one takeaway for all of you here. And I'm happy to connect with you over, even after this session. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I hope you've been active on social media. I haven't checked my mobile, but please share your experience about how you felt. Again, it's about how you felt rather than number of things that you got out of it. I hope this was somewhat useful. Even if you don't start doing it from tomorrow, you can think about how does it change the way next time you talk to your hiring manager or a candidate, and even you becoming a great story as a role model. I think that would be amazing. When do we deep dive on Glassdoor reviews? There are good issues. We are focusing on the creating stories from, but how important is to handle the issues? Exactly, it is all about authenticity. So yes, you will find some great stories on Glassdoor. By the way, you can just put a screenshot of it. But it's also important that your HR team, your business teams, listen to your employees and what they are not happy about and improve it. Now, remember how amazing story that would be. Again, just to give an example, we learned so much about our employees through Glassdoor that a lot of policies changes that we did is because of our what our employees told us through Glassdoor and through other employee surveys. Now, when we go back to them saying this is what we did, and we are now improving the sabbatical policy, the whatever policy, the diversity policies, that tells them a great story. We were at here, we did this, and now you have an opportunity to do this. So Glassdoor is an amazing tool if you want to use. Anyways, I think we are running out of time. Thank you so much, all. Uh, Please let me know. Just message me if you uh, like my story and like my presentation. I was really nervous before this, but I hope I did justice to your time. Tell me where I can improve. What else do you want me to talk about in coming sessions? I do want to do more sessions, at least one session in 2 months for sourcing Adda. That gives me an opportunity to learn as well. So thank you so much. Yusuf, over to you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. See you all in the next webinar, which we're going to do. So, Esther will keep you updated on our next webinar. And yeah, we will also share the recording of this session on YouTube. So, we would send it to you all on WhatsApp or email. Yeah. So, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you.